All right, cool. Look, so if you guys can see what's going on right now, Lamar at the door. What are you talking about? I had coffee with him the other day, and it was weird. I walked into the house and I was like, "Hello." He was like, "Here's some coffee. What's happening with Fat Cat?" Right. Okay. Cool. So look, if you guys want to start seeing what I am seeing, let me see. You see what I'm seeing. You can check out either one of these things. I'm going to be going through the whole show as we speak. If you want, let's have a bit of a chat here as we go along, because get some more people coming into to the other side. Lamar Scott, I love Lamar. Yeah, I really do love him. He's such a cool dude. Like, he's one way forward. He's one way focused. That's his focus in life, and it makes me really happy. I got a feeling if I ever went through some difficulties in life, he would be a person to be talking to for sure. How is everyone today? I hope the markets are treating everyone well, although we're having a bit of a pullback at this present moment, partially because of one particular thing. But Bitcoin is holding up really, really, really well at the moment, like super duper well. I think there's some interesting things going on. I'll have a look at where we could be going to, and we can go from there. Let's get all right. We've got a few people in there. Let's see what's happening right now. With Bitcoin at this present moment, it's done exactly as I was talking about. I stated that when there is a golden cross, it can usually pull Bitcoin down into that area. But we are at a key support level at this present moment. I mean, I've drawn this this golden pocket as we see. It's tapped that top level, which it couldn't make it over, but we are at this current moment right here where support needs to hold. I mean, it is looking like it's breaking the 21-day EMA, which isn't great, but it could deviate after it taps this level. This level here is going to be extremely, extremely important. I mean, on the day, it looks relatively strong. The reason why, can you turn the camera to the screen? We can't do it. I'm not allowed to do that in TikTok. There's new regulations that come up. I can't do any of that stuff. If you want to see anything, you can see it there. What was I going to say? Yeah, so it's turned down and it's still potentially holding at this level here. There is one reason why it could go a lot further down. If you want, just check out. I'm sure you have one of these. It's there, right? We could potentially see further downside in Bitcoin, especially. It's mainly because of this, right? This is the main reason why we could be seeing potentially over the weekend a level of pullback that could maybe happen. Let's just talk about the maybes and if buts and all that kind of stuff, because a huge amount of options are expiring today. Now, these type of option expiries don't cause an instantaneous sell-off. They could rally over into the weekend, and that could cause a bit of issue into the markets, and we could see a bit of a pullback according to that. Doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen, but there it could usually. These things can cause a bit of a problem. What's an interesting thing, though, is that we will be the maximum amount of pain that it looks like we're going to be receiving is about the $102,000 level on Bitcoin. Now, why that is a really cool thing is if we mark the 102 here. Where is the 102? See around the 102 there. Let's say that's 102 there, right? If we mark the 102 and we do something like that, right? It's very, very convenient, right? It's very, very convenient that 102 level comes with a perfect fib line. And what's even more important is that it's within the trading range. So even if we do get something on that crazy level, say we get something insane happening where all of those we get a full-blown crazy insanity level of sell-off, I think we'll be fine, right? I think that could be a really good level of bounce from that moment there. We'll see what's going on. I would say that I don't think it will be a full level of movement down into the 102, but more importantly, I would say it's more of a movement down into this level here, the 103. The reason why I say the 103, right? The reason why I say 103 is the 103 is the 50% level on the fib. This level has historically been a extremely strong level of support, right? In Bitcoin, and we can see where it goes from there. But I would say here, if this happens, these are ifs, if buts and maybes and all that kind of jazz, right? If it happens, that would be an area of very strong support for this market. Now, where we're going and what we're going to be doing, where we're going in the future, where is this market going to be going? I still think that somewhere between 125 and 135 is an area where we could be going. Yo, a good afternoon, my British brother. Hello, Eli. Awesome, man. Good to have you here. It's always a pleasure having you here. All right. If you want to see what's going on, you know the jazz. You can check it out and go from there. What I will say at this present moment is, where do we see this going? What's happening? Well, as I said previously as well, we need to break this 110,000 level. All right. We need to break this 110,000 level. When we're 130, I'm going to explain it in a second. And that really relays and depends on the SPX, right? This is going to be something you need to hug in these next couple of months, right? This is everything to everyone. Everything. Now, I'll come back to that in a second. If we look at Bitcoin at this on the weekly, right? I've been showing this thing forever, right? We have a bearish divergence here, bearish divergence here. If we look at the MACD, it looks like it's about to break it, right? We will see some form of reaction from this point. I'm almost certain. Let's see what happens. This also aligns with this local trend line that we're developing on the RSI. I expect this to be broken or have some form of a pullback to a certain level. I expect this to be broken, all right? What this reaction of this line when it comes to here is going to be extremely, extremely important. It's super duper important. We'll see what happens from there, and then we can move on into that direction. This movement here to here is in essence, if we're going on Wyckoff, because I go a lot of people like Wyckoff, right? If we can understand what it is, it's if you look at the larger movement and then within Wyckoff, there are the minor movements in between. If we understand it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I'll draw it. I'll draw what we need to what we're expecting to see. That's not it. Where is the Wyckoff? So is it? Here we go. Let's edit whatever. Right. If you do 1, 2, 3. Oh no, that's not 3. Mother. Just 3, 4, 5. I'm expecting some form of movement in that direction, right? But to get this 3, we have to get above the 110,000 level. I'm assuming when you look at certain factors here, if this, sorry, I'm late, guys. The wheelbarrow handle broke. No problem. God, Punky, you're funny, man. Hilarious. What was I saying? If we look at if we look at market structure, we're still within the boundary of where it looks good, and this could continue on. We have to see but when Wyckoff 3, that's what I'm trying to say. When we pass the 110, Wyckoff 3 will be in action. That's the thing you guys need to understand, right? The 110 is key. But the fact that these this options are expiring, we could feel some potential downward pressure in the markets which could bring it down to, I would say, around 103, 300. That level there is super duper strong and important. So we could see these things are never straight. You guys need to understand that, right? We could see a little bit of a dip down here and then take off to the top. I mean, these things can actually go in jagged movements in this type of thing. M2 is fine. M2 is still look, with M2. What you guys need to understand is M2 is a directional thing, not a value thing. A lot of people get this wrong. So with M2, are you streaming the charts on? Yeah, if you, these two there. I'm not allowed to show it here. TikTok doesn't allow me to do it. With M2, it's all about directionality of M2, not actual value of M2. If directionality of M2 is increasing, that will bode well for all risk on assets and markets in general. Now, I'm getting to the really important stuff, right? This is why you need to be extremely focused in on the SPX. You have to be really focused in on this. This is extremely important, and I'm going to explain to you why, and genuinely why I think genuinely we could be seeing some form of, we could be seeing this thing possibly elongate towards the end of the year. And I'll explain to you why, right? I'll explain to you why. At this present moment, um, uh, the SPX has somewhere or other broken all-time high. It broke all-time high. It's having a bit of a retracement at the moment. Possibly it could come back down towards the 6,086 level, around that level there. Yeah, around that level. 6,086, 88 level is a possibility of this thing coming back down into that level there. Now, what I will say is these key factors, right? I want to show a few interesting things that are going on, and why I think this thing will continue on, why I think the Fed will cut, and why I think uh, the the expansion of the S&P 500 is going to be pulling up Bitcoin to those levels that I've been talking about. If you look carefully, right? Uh, if we let's go with first things first, right? I'll open these things. First things first. If we look at historical data with the SPX, uh, it has never topped out in June, right? And according to this statistical data, we're looking October, November, right? October, November will be a level where this market is most probably going to be topping out, in my humble opinion, because I'm working now solely on the S&P 500 and a few other things like QQQ and everything's like that on that level. Furthermore, the reason why I also think that this will go further on, right, is that if you look at Charlie Borello, this is a really good X channel, by the way. If we look at earnings per share as a ratio of the S&P 500 growth metric over a 12-month period, right? If we, why don't you use the US 500 chart on the trading view instead of SPX? The chart is chart. I like it this way. Whatever. I use this chart. All right. If we look at the earnings per share accordingly, right? Historically, where we are is nowhere near the level of growth that we should be seeing in the SPX. We have a long way to go still, a long way to go still in this, and it looks like there is still uh, uh, a wide difference between the two, where that potential growth metric will be coming in by the end of the year, October, September. This gives me further hope that the SPX is going to be going on, and likewise Bitcoin will be following in those factors. But the really interesting thing, right? The really interesting thing is QQQ. Now, QQQ is very closely connected to Bitcoin. There are real correlations between the two, right? And if you look at the growth divided by the value of the stock, it is in the wrong way, right? It is in the wrong way. This here means you should be buying. This means you should be buying. So I'm getting a bit technical. By the way, do you guys like this level of extra technical information that I'm providing to you guys? I want an understanding of what you guys think. Um uh, do you understand what I mean? Next leg up or down. Suspense is killing me. Up on Bitcoin. Do you guys like what I'm talking about? It's you won't see other people talking in this way. I'm giving all this stuff like directly without anything, right? I want everyone to understand that this is yeah, it's great to see the as it implies. Ira's great video on Big Beautiful Bill. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Super interesting. Cool. Now, usually you sell when it's high and you buy when it's low. It is a bit low right now. we're we're kind of like, yeah, people really should be buying right now, right? So this, in relation to that, gives me a good level of confidence to Bitcoin continuing further higher, right? The only thing that I will say is, as I said, as the markets are the options are expiring, we could see a bit of a pullback, but I would see that, and I'll say it in this manner, in the closest way. I will see that as a buying opportunity. If we see this pull back and tap this area, I think this area maybe might wick down to the 102, like higher mid-level 102, right? I will be buying there. That would be my personal opinion. Don't listen to what we're talking about. I have no idea. By the way, everyone, if you don't mind, on the other platforms, you could share it. That would be amazing. If you could hit the like button, it would be amazing. We could get some more people in here. It would mean a lot if you guys could do something on that level. It means a lot. Why did Swiss franc drop its interest rates to zero? Is it bullish or carry trade? There is no carry trade between the Swiss franc. They just uh, I'm going to get to also some other things why I think the Fed is going to be cutting, right? I'm going to tell you, right? This is what I'm going to say. Let me explain this to you. If we look at some other metric, and this is a really interesting one, I love this one. This one is super duper cool, right? This is super duper cool. If we look at gasoline demand, barrels per day, right? If we look at it, we are not in the best place right now. Gasoline per if you relate it to the previous year term, is way below it should be, right? It's way below. President Trump terminates all trade talks with Canada. We will let London know the tariffs that they will be paying to do business without, whatever. It's fine. That's just, those are temporary things now. Those are all full temporary aspects, right? Gasoline demand per day is down, right? This usually is an indicator, and this is a front loaded indicator for what the market is going through in the USA. When something on this level, when this indicates a slowing down, right, this usually means that the market is showing some level of retraction and slowdown. By the way, if anyone here wants to check it out, you can go to any of these and see what I'm showing, right? It shows a level of retraction in the market, which bodes further forward to the Fed looking to cut rates. If they see a sign that the market is slowing down, they will cut rates. If they see a sign of unemployment slowing, they will cut rates. But most importantly, and I want everyone to really understand this fact, right? In September, if you're suggesting accumulation, that means we're in a bear market. Okay, fantastic. No, it depends on which what you're looking at. Depends on what you're looking at. Alts, yes. Bitcoin, I would not say that. That's not the way. And some alts, depends on what it is, right? Where was I? What was I talking about? I know what I was talking about. What was I talking about before that question came in? Who was paying attention? All right, yeah. So also in September, the U.S. is selling its U.S. is selling its largest auction of its government bonds in September. I will bet my bottom dollar by September they cut. I would bet my bottom dollar that's going to be the situation that's going on. We're going to be seeing somewhat of what your gold chart looks like. I'm going to show you my gold chart, right? I'm going to show you my gold chart. We're going to see some sort of pull. This is an indicator that I'm telling you that the market is slowing down a little bit in the USA. I don't care what anyone says, right? The market's slowing down with that in relation to factors of a potential rate cut coming. The market is going to get some level of liquidity. Furthermore, I did a video about the big beautiful bill. If that passes as well, that will be a massive injection of liquidity into the market. It's really annoying when TikTok goes through a new algorithm change, which seems to be like on a daily basis now, right? I would highly recommend you guys go and watch that video, because what it basically understands and what is going on is that in one sense it's a hard bill to sell. Don't get me wrong, it's not an easy thing to sell. You look, you're basically be taking money from poor people and giving it to the wealthy people. But what wealthy people do is they buy assets, and if they have extra money to I mean, no, Todd, the idea of the bill is terrible. It's really bad for poor people, right? And middle class and poor people are going to be suffering from that bill. However, I have crypto, right? I have crypto and I need liquidity, bruv. Right? I'm in crypto and the SBX. So liquidity is my sustenance. So with that happening and that growing in that level, we will see a massive injection of liquidity, and wealthy people like to put into assets. And if they have extra money beyond what they normally do, they will go risk on, and that would bode well for Bitcoin and various other things and alts on that jazz, right? So that's that thing. Watch SPX. It's really important. This continuing up is going to be very important on this. When it comes to this level, it's going to be super duper important as well. Do you think Bitcoin can 200 in October? I don't know if 200 is a bit. We'll see. 200 seems to be high. I think between 125 and 130 is a possibility still, right? Still. Now, if we look at USDT dominance, all right, and I want this to be getting it. And also, apparently there was a conference with Donald Trump, which I want to find. Do you guys want to watch that with me? Do you guys watch the conference? No tax on overtime. Well, after you read the fine print, I mean, the no tax on overtime. How can I say, in the grand scheme of things? I mean, look, okay. I just want to say this. I just want to say it. Yeah, I watched it. You attended it. Nice. I kind of want to watch it. I haven't actually watched the thing. Would you guys be okay with? Is it long? I heard it was quite long. No, Alvarez, we have you. Appreciate it. I feel like I want to watch it. Should we watch a bit of it? I feel like we should watch a bit of it. I don't know. Whatever. Um, yeah, no tax on overtime, but those little things that they put in there that kind of look good. If you look at the tax cut on the rich, it's like 1 billionaires. The amount of gain that 1 billionaire makes covers all of those costs. So the news conference, he was talking about talking up crypto. All right, cool. I'll check it out. I'm up. I'm up for it. If anyone has any links to that thing, please put it into the chat, and I'll try and find out if we can go and watch it. I'm up for it. I haven't actually watched it, so we'll do a bit of this, and I'll get into that. However, I have crypto. Yeah, what can I do, man? We all have crypto. I mean, I feel for those people. I know I'm sounding bad right now, right? I know I'm sounding quite bad, but whatever, it's all good. Now USDT dominance. It looks a bit messy here. I need to clean this up. Sometimes I will. I hope you are aware of the Web3 network as you keep your wallet safe and secured. Oh my God, can you guys just stop? Does anyone fall for those things anymore? Please, man, just stop. All right, please stop. It's hilarious you have XRP in your name as well. That's absolutely hilarious, right? Now, what are we seeing right now? I really need to clean this up. I will clean up next time. I apologize. I'm just playing this right. We're in a bit of a channel here. I still expect a drop, right? I do expect this thing to break, and once it breaks this 4.36% level, it's going to be it's going to be party time for a lot of alts and crypto and Bitcoin and all that kind of jazz. But what I will say, and this is what I will say, is that right now it's finding some level of support. No, at the trend line, and on top of that, at the 200-day EMA. So what I will say is that if we start seeing those options, people start selling, we could see this. And I like to say it straight, we could see this. I've pressed it, right? Hello? The hell? Okay, apparently I can't draw. I can't draw on the line. Anyway, whatever, I'll do it this way. We could see. Seriously, what is going on? Anyway, I can't draw it for some reason. I don't know what's going on there. The hell's that about? Right, we could see 102. Okay, incoming this evening, guys. Chest breath. Yeah, chest breath. We could see this move up and tap this level. Can you show us the way you use your RSI, MACD? I'll show it. Right. We could see this come and tap that 5% level again, right, and then break down. We'll see. Let's be cautious. This doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen. It really does not mean it's going to happen. I'm just giving you possibilities of what the graph is saying. All right, a breakdown from the 4.83 level will mean a continuation and Bitcoin goes up. Does it not seem like alts are in a bear market? We're entering 6-month window for a 4-year cycle. Some, I would say some. I'm gonna get to that as well. I'm gonna get to that. If we look at the dollar, it looks like a continuous devaluation of the dollar as a a triple whammy to try and reduce the cost of the debt, bringing this down here. They don't want a strong dollar at this present moment. Right now, they definitely don't. Because what also helps in their favor is that if they devalue the dollar, it means that the trade deficit is going to be reducing. More people will go and try and buy services and buy assets and buy a whole bunch of stuff from the USA because the dollar is weak, and that's going to be moving in that direction. I heard something really, really interesting also about the stablecoin aspect as well. Because if you, what happened today, which was wild, by the way, and it's something that no one talked about. I was going to do a video about it, but work and stuff and everything else came in the way. Costco and Walmart are developing their own stablecoin. Can we understand how crazy that is? Costco and Walmart are developing their own stablecoin. Yeah, yo. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. Yo. That's why I mean this level of crescendo could come close, especially coming near to a rate cut and all these things, news coming in, positive news and all that explosion, jazz and everything else. Now, if we look at gold, I mean, look, you see it. Everything's recorded, so you guys can understand what I talked about and what said. You see the line; it is perfectly tapped. It. You see the midweek strategy working perfectly. We see. I'm from London. We see the midweek strategy working perfectly. It's tapped it, come back, deviated, and now it looks like it's rejecting off that trend line. This could be a further continuation down. In my opinion, that's what it's looking like. It doesn't look like there's any reason for gold to continue up any higher. I don't see any level of uncertainty in the market at this present moment. The only thing right now is the Fed that's keeping this market from going absolutely parabolic. That's the only thing that's breaking it right now. I mean, look, if we look at the Fed watch, I'll do it live here. If we look at Fed, whatever, I'll just take time. If we look at the Fed watch, we're verging at 2 points, between 2.3 and 2.4 on inflation, right? Why are rates at over 5? Can someone explain that to me right now? Right, I understand he wants to see it, but as I said last time, I said that there was a little birdie that told me that it's June, July. It's going to be the key factor for Powell, and then he came up and actually said it. You heard it here first, by the way, so everyone understands that factor, right? You heard it here first, right? Blue Powell. I thought you said blue ball Powell. I was like, whoa. Trump mad at Canada again. No trade talk. Yeah, that'll change, man. We all know. Look, the markets are now understanding of what Donald Trump is. We know who he is. We know his playbook. We know what he's talking about. We'll know, you know, we'll see. You know what I mean? Now, all right. Now we're getting into the areas that you guys want to be talking about. Alts. Right now, the only way I see some form of movement in alts is when we see excess liquidity in the market. And that will come from either two places. One, that the beautiful, big, beautiful bill, whatever that is, right? That's an actual name of the bill, by the way. Just so you guys understand, that's the actual name of the bill. It's not the house spending bill. It's the beautiful house, the big beautiful bill is the actual name of that, right? Now, it's dumbest thing in the world. Anyway, whatever. Uh, if that passes, that will bring in liquidity. If the Fed cuts, it will bring in liquidity. Right? Those two things are going to be bringing liquidity, and it will hold in one way or another. I said before, and I said it again, and I'll keep saying it again. This chart only really matters when Bitcoin starts getting into these areas here. This area here is when you start looking at this, and it could still potentially still get to the 68%. I think that there will provide us some form of an alt season pump, right? Some form. A lot of coins are really low, and I'm going to show you some key areas where we could see some bounces in the market, right? That's not okay. Yeah. If you look at ETH, uh, ETH came and tapped. I'm going to show you how what a fair value gap is. By the way, look, I'll show you what a fair value gap is, right? Fair value gap is between the top of the wick of the previous candle and the bottom of the wick of the next candle after the pump, right? Oh, there we go. It's come and tapped it perfectly, right? 2x and alts, and I'm out 50% out. Yeah, we'll see. It's still possible. Look, there's a lot of I'm going to explain to you. Like here, I'll just explain this to you, right? If we start playing some funny business, right? Let's say funny business. If you look at funny business aspect, we see this the first Bitcoin Donald Trump, and then we see the second one that seems smaller, right? Even if we see, let's give 20% of this, right? Even if we see a 20% move, how much of a move is this? That would be a what's 20% of that? That would be a let's say 15% move, right? You're streaming elsewhere, we can't see that. Yeah, if you go to one of these, you can check it there, right? Make sure when you go there, follow, like, and all that kind of stuff. Say we see a 15% move down from where we get from here, right? A 15% move. That there you will be able to make, in my humble opinion, right? 10,000 XRP that I'm selling you. 10,000 XRP, I'll let you do the stream. I'll give you all the keys, man. Don't worry about it. You take it. Take everything. You can take everything. You can take everything, all right? Including my chair. I'll give you my chair. And people in this stream know how important my chair is to my life, right? That's how sure that $10,000 XRP is not happening. All right? All right? Yeah, that's how sure I am. Right. Even if it does a 15% move down to this level, which is quite funny enough, like this level that I was talking about, that there is still like from where we are between 3 to 5x. I want everyone to understand that. Like, here's a huge Gary. I'm selling at 900. Many will sell at 10K. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, you don't want to get to the exact number. People like So that's still huge amounts of craziness that can happen in alts. Huge amounts of craziness. I'm just letting you know that in that factor. Now, Ethereum has come and tapped its fair value gap, which is great. This looks strong. This looks like it can continue up. Again, it really needs to regain this level at the 2,415. But if we see a sell-off in the bonds and Bitcoin, this will further come down and uh, possibly test here. Yeah, it could probably test at 2,200. I mean, if we draw I mean, it's going to be a bit of a lazy fib, but whatever. It's too short of a time span, but whatever. Let's do that. If we draw a fib, we could, yeah. Look, I mean, what could happen? What could happen is that this could come down and possibly test the bottom of this fair value gap, which will be at the 2,314. There we go. Done. All right. Done. That could be an area where it could go to. If you look at the ETH Bitcoin, it's you seeing that this thing is rolling over and most probably will come and test this area here, because Bitcoin is the main focus of everyone that's going on. ETH dominance is going up compared to alts. I look at it against Bitcoin. Still, if we look at of course, ETH dominance is going up, except yeah, obviously, yeah, obviously. Now this chart, I've shown it to everyone many times before, right? And I'm gonna drop this in. Did you guys hear that? Oh man, okay, cool, whatever. There's some KGB action going on downstairs. Anyway, whatever. What I was talking about. What was that? It was my wife on a 10-way Zoom with her friends, and they're all drinking wine. They're having whatever. It's fine. Yeah, not thing that guys do. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. 10-way chat downstairs. Yeah, and some serious things are going on. Whatever. It's cool. Look at this line here. I'm gonna drop this into the pro group as well. If you guys want to check out the pro group, that are not here, but in the other places, you can go and check out the description. It's there. The links are there, right? This level here will show some level of bounce, right? We will see some level of bounce in alts at this level, which is going to be really interesting to check out. It's really important to do that. If it gets down here, that is full-blown accumulation level. I will be accumulating vast numbers of alts in this level, especially good what's it called, fundamentals. That's why I say, like, this bit here, it really does depend on your time span. Like if you're looking at it for a couple of, if you're looking at a bit of a period of time, then it's amazing, right? It's something that you're going to be getting into a super interesting opportunity in your life on that side. Look at total 2. I don't usually like total 2. It's just like it's a nothing burger graph, but it's still on a downtrend. It's fighting for its life at this moment. I'm looking at around the 4-day time frame. Nice. Nice. I like it. It's a good thing to be that forward focused. It's super, like, this level here has to hold. All right. If not, then we're going to be seeing a further acceleration down towards the 1.05 trillion in the markets, and it looks like it's going to be a Bitcoin forward type of movement, and at this level, right, for a while at least, and that corresponds perfectly with this chart here as well. The two. Now, if we look at total 3, again, it's just a full-blown downward graph. I would not be surprised if this thing continues further down for a while. Key level to look at is at the 806. 806. I'm going to say the bit 806.76. It needs to hold that level desperately, because the next level we're looking at 700 anything, which could mean some potential maybe further downside in alts for a bit. It works in its level as well, because Bitcoin is going to be the main focus. It's always the case when Bitcoin runs, the alts stay somewhat static for a while, right? Yeah, and if you look at the total market cap, something on this level is what I'm thinking is going to be happening. It works in line with Bitcoin as well, because it's very Bitcoin forward and all that type of jazz. What should we expect in the next month? The only barrier right now The only barrier right now is the wait, what just happened here? Why is it two of them? The only barrier right now is the options. This options expiring. This could potentially cause some downside movement and downside risk in the markets. So we'll see where it goes from there. We'll see what the aspect is, and we'll see what's going on that side. Now, if we look at a further aspect here, I mean, if we look at liquidations, the liquidation heat map, it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, right? Uh, they expire today, right? So tomorrow we're going to be seeing. We'll see how it reacts in the market. But this is getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and there's going to be some level of movement here very very soon, right? The closer the range, the it means it's coiling up to do some move, and I'm expecting some move up for the time being, right? Potentially small little pullback, but that will be a buying opportunity in my humble opinion. Okay, what else are we looking at here? If we look at the liquidations and everything else, it's barely anything. You know, people are not really trading at this present moment because they're fearful of what's going to be coming and what might be happening soon. Okay, cool. That's that situation. That's what we're talking about. What do you guys want me to look at? But are we still going to see a parabol in this year in some form? Yeah, in some form. I mean, if you look at this, right? If we look at if we look at what I just showed and what I explained to everyone, um, things aren't. There's how can I say for Bitcoin things are looking good, right? Things are looking. What just happened? What? Learn more. Continue to see TikTok from this date means you have agreed to. What? Sorry, my TikTok. Someone on the live just reported my live. What just happened? Someone just someone just reported my live. Are you joking? That is actually hilarious. You just yeah, someone just reported my live and they banned me on TikTok. That's wild. Yeah, it says that I'm banned. For what reason exactly did I just get banned? Can someone explain this to me? That's actually hilarious. Anyway, whatever. I'll get on that afterwards. That's actually hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Oh my god. Anyway, whatever. Whatever. That's the situation of I'll check that out in a second. Whatever. Look, let's get back to uh where's XRP? Yeah, it's probably them. Yeah, they were probably the one that reported my live. That's actually hilarious. Anyway, whatever. Okay, cool. Now let's look at you guys here. What coins should I be it's bound to happen. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's just always the case in this crazy stupid TikTok world where TikTok doesn't do anything to anyone in the field. You know what I mean? Anyway, what coins do you guys want me to look at? At this point, you need to try to get your TikTok verified. They don't care. They'll still ban it. It's a program, right? It's a complete program. Let me just try and see. How do I? 1 second. How do I? It's hilarious. Yeah. Oh my god. Uh, yeah. Anyway, render. I'm accumulate chills in advance of the world's going. All right. Let's look at what are we looking at? Render. Let's look at render. Um, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Do I have render here? All right. Let's look at render. Render. Maybe it's due to multiple accounts people created in your name. Most probably, yeah. I would not be surprised. I mean, it's just whatever. It's just there's someone going around that's banning people. Render. I mean, look, you see a complete reach out to Alex. And there is an entity out there getting accounts banned, or they. Yeah, I know. It's probably the same person. Whatever, it's fine. If it's something you can't get away from, unfortunately. Render is a it's on this trend line here, and it's rejected off it. It had a nice little move up. So where is it on the daily? Yeah, I mean, like it's on the same situation. I mean, it's come and hit its fair value gap perfectly. It doesn't look great. That Iraq guy, yeah, that guy came from TikTok to here. Yeah, I know. A lot of people are. Someone permanently. That's wild. That's what was wild. Anyway, let me just do a open up a ticket in on my agency. That's actually hilarious. One second. Let me just do this quickly so it can. How do I? One second. Right. One second. Raise it again to yeah. Okay, here we go. One second. Let me just get this sorted out. Feels different here. I know, right? It does feel different here, but unfortunately, this is the thing that we're going to be doing. And look, and this is the reason why I've been pushing more into the other side. And in fact, I'll do this afterwards. Whatever, forget it. That's why I've been pushing in the other side. You know what I mean? Because TikTok just has zero level of it's just an algorithm that some idiot online can fully utilize some bots, and then it goes from there. First, it creates a great platform, then they allow it to be torn apart by idiots. Yeah, that's the thing. Hi, Rez, did you piss off on TikTok? No, just someone just banned me on TikTok. Some of these idiots. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's all cool. Where was I right now? Yeah, look, if you look at render at this present moment, it's meh, is all I can say. It's not great. I mean, a breakout from that trend line would have been amazing. And if we're looking, let's look at if we look at a shorter time frame. Yeah, I mean, like it's bounced off the 50% level perfectly. Is that the 50% level? Yeah, it's bounced off the 50% perfectly. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, if you look at the fib level, it really just needs to be. I mean, I would only really be interested in this if it gets above the 3.355. At this present moment, it's following the trend. The trend is your friend until it breaks it, and this will be a further continuation down. Imagine you get sorted by the. Do you need to do anything on Coinbase as I have render, and they apparently changed the render token? That happened ages ago. David, man, that happened ages ago. Damn. You really need to get on that. Yeah, so at this present moment, it looks like there will be further downward pressure on this because it really needs to break and then get above it just needs to get above its previous high before we really see a break of trend. And right now it's a continuation down. We'll see what happens on that. Anything else? Any other coins you want me to look at? How injective is looking to you? Let's have a look at injective. Do I have? I should have injective here. INJ. Actually, you know what? Let me just do this now because it's a Friday, right? Yeah, I need to do this now. 1 second. 1 second. I need to do this now. I just realized. Apologize, guys. Let me just do this. Hilarious. One second. I will look at that in a second. Let me just sort this out. Yeah, I'll look. I'll look. Hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Cool. Let me do the thing. Can we say we're no longer worried about Israel and Iran going into conflict? I don't think so. It's not even about them going into conflict. It's about America not wanting to get involved, right? That's the situation. They're not going to get involved. They will not get involved with any of that crap, right? It's not their. He's made it very clear that he wants to end it in this way, and anything of any type of information in any other way doesn't seem to make any sense to them. You know what I mean? He doesn't. He's just brushing off everything on that situation. Yeah, it's as you said, temporary distraction. The one good thing is though, I can drink water on stream, which is amazing. All right, you wanted to look at INJ. All right, let me look at INJ. All right, again, this is the same. It must not lose this level. It looks like it's going to come and try and test that level. If we look, I mean, if let me just show you. If we look at the fair value gap of this, all right, it's looking into that level. If you draw the fib to there, it's lost its 50% level. This thing looks like at minimum it will come and try and tap the $10 and 14 at minimum, right? That's at minimum. And if we look also, the trend is still somewhat in this direction here. Yeah, this looks further downside. At least a YouTube allows you to drink water peacefully. You know what I mean? It's amazing. It's wild that it happened live. Why does all this stuff happen live? What am I talking? What am I doing? Right? That is just God, it's hilarious. Anyway, that's the situation there. What else? What else you guys want me to look at the moment? You want Chainlink? Let's look at Link. Let's see what Link is up to. Let's see what Link's doing. That's not great, man. I'm listening to Manic Street Preachers. It's fantastic. I like Manic Street. They're awesome band. That's not good. It's not great. The fact that it's broken that trend again after it came back in, that's not fantastic. Look, I would say see what it does at 12.64 $12.64 $12.64. It looks like it's going in that direction. Let me see what the local opens are. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. This might be going down to the Monday low. Yeah. 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 All right. Look, with this, check this key level here, 1266, right? Around, I mean, I said it's, I mean, around that. Check this this level, 1266. See what happens from that, how it reacts. If it can hold that level, that's great, right? That's a great sign that if it can hold that level, because at this present moment, if we look at its fair value gap here, right? Oh, the popo's after me. All right. If we look at its fair value gap, this is a little technique I always use. It usually works well for me. Yeah, there we go. See that worked? I mean, yeah. See, I did it even without looking at the graphs. There you go. Look, 1266. I said that comes into the 382. 382 is a nothing burger, whatever. But I would say look for its reaction. If it breaks that level, that 382, then you're looking to see its real reaction of the 12.341. That level there is going to be extremely important. That will be the fundamental area that you guys have to see where it bounces from. If it breaks that, it's going all the way down to its Monday low, which will be literally at 11.437 now in that level there. All right, Aave. Let's look at Aave. I'm gonna look at Aave, and then I want to check what Donald Trump was doing, because I want to then see what happens on that side there. Okay. Uh. All right. I mean, I don't know what you want. Like, I always, they're all the graphs look similar, man. I don't know what you want me to say. They all look very similar. I mean, they all look relatively similar. Let's just do something like that. All right. It's a bit dirty, but whatever. Right? They all look very similar. They all look very similar. It's a downtrend at this present moment. We're looking at key levels for it to hit. If we look at the fair value gap of this, where it could come down and potentially bounce from, right? It's already at it, right? It's already at that period. And if we draw the fib from that level to there, yeah, look at that, almost perfectly. And that level of bounce is, it's my mistake. I didn't draw it perfectly. Otherwise, it would be like identical at that level, right? You see how precise this is. Trump canceled any trade talks with Canada and will announce tariff percentage in the next 7 days. Yeah, whatever. They're going to be. It's just, look, the markets right now at this present moment have completely and utterly, in every sense of the notion, know what Trump is doing, right? Well, what was the word that they called him? Taco. He's the taco president. They know that this is some form of trading tactic, and that trading tactic is something that will always be the case. You know what I mean? So, whatever. So July and August is going to be paying for alts with hopes for September rate cut. I no, no. The rate cut itself doesn't matter. I want everyone to really understand that the rate cut itself is not the issue. The July Fed meeting, I think, is going to be the area where things start going a lot higher, a lot higher. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, I know, like, Bitcoin is doing that, like, a little bit here. It had moved here, but the alts didn't move. But I'm telling you, when you're around here, I just want to say this: when you're around here, people will not be looking to buy Bitcoin. I want everyone to understand that fact, right? Because people know that it will be at massively overbought territory. We're looking at crazy levels here. Although, don't get me wrong, Bitcoin can stay at that level for a while. and this is not a guaranteed, but it just gives me, you know what I mean. Like it looks like if the third touch will indicate some level of a massive pullback in that area. That there will be a level where I would highly suggest that I'll start to de-risk a little bit. Look, there's nothing stopping this thing going crazy over the top if a massive liquidity event happens. I mean, I'll tell you this: if in September, I'm in London, by the way, so police is a very very normal sound. It's like birds chirping in England. If you don't hear it, you know something's wrong. Um, yeah, I mean, if they announce something like QE, then forget everything I've drawn here. This can go to crazy, crazy levels. Let's not forget that. You know what I mean? That's the situation of where we are. And look, I will say that, yeah, as I said, when we're up here, you're not going to expect people to be buying into Bitcoin. Some will, right? Some will if they have like 10-year time spans in their understanding and knowledge of what's happening, right? Some will, but that there will not be the key fundamental fact of this. What that there, people will be looking at potential growth in alts, because alts by that time there, according to what's going on with this, right, will be at a key buying point. Key buying point. Think of it this way: people here, they're going to be their wallets are going to be so heavy here. They're going to be taking percentage cuts and looking into what other areas can bring them uh, uh, more returns. Es- Especially if we get into an environment where people will be able to offer service. Do you think that? Look, I'll tell you one thing, right? I'll tell you one thing. Banks make most of their money by providing leverage services, right? Levered services or leverage backed assets. That there is where it's really really important. That there is what's really really key to understand. And once we get into a point where there's regulatory clarity, there's a stable coin bill coming in, and we have a somewhat very crypto forward economy and a country that is wholeheartedly in this industry, we're going to see some form of alt move. I don't care what anyone says. Got to remind us, stick to your plan, take profits when you're up. Euphoria stage can make holders break their plan. Yep, that's also true. This is the thing. Look, always what I am saying right now is my opinion in all this. What I am saying is my opinion. When it's my opinion, you stick with my opinion, right? But develop your own opinion. What I'm showing you here, and what I'm saying is, it's something that you guys should all understand and develop yourself. Develop it yourself. Develop the notion and what you've done yourself in your own understanding. This works for me. It may not work for you. If it doesn't work for you, you find what works for you by testing and understanding. All of this, right, took me years and years and years to understand the way that I read charts and the way that I do my investments and what I look for. That's key. And that's what everyone should be doing. Now, let me see Donald Trump talk. Let's see what Donald Trump is up to. What are you up to, bruv? What was it? When was it? Donald Trump. What is this? Donald Trump signs. What was the? It's an hour long. He talked for an hour. This guy talked for an hour. This guy talked for an hour. Can you guys hear this, by the way? Hour long. By the way, do you guys like the way that this guy reads off a teleprompter? It's one of the funniest things in this world. It's one of the funniest things in this world. He reads, I promise you, he reads like a 5-year-old doing his book report in front of the school. And what he does is that he reads a little bit, right? He reads a little bit, and then goes, all right, I'm gonna add my flair to it. I'm gonna add a little bit of flair. He adds a flair, and then goes back to reading like a 5-year-old. And you can tell when he goes off script. It's hilarious. So what is it? By the way, this is the thing, right? It was streamed 2 hours ago. This is the I've seen this. You can't hear it. All right, let me change this 1 second. 1 second. So I asked, can everyone hear it? And no one just like everyone just went quiet. 1 second. Hmm. You hear it now? Can you guys hear it now? I love when this guy talks. He makes me so happy. Oh, wait, 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. All right. I'm gonna make everything sound super sexy in a second. 1 second. Check this out. Okay. Seems that TikTok doesn't like me for some reason. Can you guys hear? 1 second. Let me just take this off.
I'm grateful to the Supreme Court for stepping in and solving this very, very big and complex problem, and they've made it very simple. I want to thank Justice Barrett, who wrote the opinion brilliantly, as well as Chief Justice Roberts, and Justices Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas. Great people. Thanks for this decision, and thanks to this.
Can you guys hear the video and can you hear me? Someone answer, please. Yes or no? You can hear me. Can you hear the video? Can someone hear the video, please? Okay, can hear it now. Can you hear the video, or can you hear me both? Can you hear both? Because you guys like to give one-word answers. Can you hear both?
Decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves.
Is a little loud.
So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and say a few words, but there's really, she could talk as long as she wants because this is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank again the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. It's a giant. And they should be very proud, and our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court today. And with that, I'd like you to listen to the words of Pam Bondi. She's an incredible Attorney General. We're very proud of her. And as you know, Todd Blanche is with us, and we have so many others that worked on this case and other cases. And I think they're doing a great job. Pam, please say a few words.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for fighting for all Americans. Americans are finally getting what they voted for. No longer will we have rogue judges striking down President Trump's policies across the entire nation. No longer. Today, in the 6-3 opinion, Justice Barrett correctly holds that the district court lacks authority to enter nationwide or universal injunctions. These lawless injunctions gave relief to everyone in the world instead of the parties before the court. As the Supreme Court held today, they turned district courts into the imperial judiciary. Active liberal judges have used these injunctions to block virtually all of President Trump's policies. To put this in perspective, there are 94 federal judicial districts. 5 of those districts throughout this country held 35 of the nationwide injunctions. Think about that. 94 districts. And 35 out of the 40 opinions with nationwide injunctions came from 5 liberal districts in this country. No longer. No longer. So these injunctions have blocked our policies from tariffs to military readiness to immigration to foreign affairs, fraud, abuse, and many other.
So you're saying to me right now, by the way, can you guys hear me? Is it still quiet? So you're saying to me right now that they don't have injunction ability to block Donald Trump's policies? Am I getting this correct right now? Because if that's the case, that's a problem. That's a problem. They block student loan aid, so that's going to go through now.
Issues.
Yeah,
the judges have tried to seize the executive branch's power, and they cannot do that. No longer. No longer. And on immigration, on a side note, today marks 2,711 arrests on these terrorists and these gangs. Total arrest today with HSI investigations. And thank you, Stephen Miller. Thank you to Homeland Security. Thank you to everyone working hand in hand with the FBI on all of these transnational gangs. TDA has been a huge terror to our country, as well as MS-13, as well as Sinaloa cartels. No longer. No longer. These injunctions have allowed district court judges to be emperors. They vetoed all of President Trump's power, and they cannot do that. This has been a bipartisan problem that has lasted 5 presidential terms, 5 different presidents, and it has ended today. We will continue to fight for President Trump's policies. I want to thank the Office of White House Counsel, Dave Warrington. You and your staff have been incredible. Our Solicitor General's office, John Sowers, Sarah Harris, and Todd Blanche and Emil Bovey. Todd's going to say a few words because we've had another major ruling today on transgender books and some other great wins that we've had. But no longer will they have this power in our country. It is the president's authority under his executive branch to do everything to fight for the American people, and he will continue to do that. That's why he was overwhelmingly elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Today's a great day for the rule of law. It's a great day for the Justice Department, and it's one that's been a long time coming, and one that every American should have been waiting for with bated breath. And so I echo what the President said and Attorney General Bondi, that the Supreme Court did a great thing today, not only for this administration, but for every American in this country. If not for the injunctions case, we would be here talking about another great decision that came down today, the trans books case, which restores parents' rights to decide their child's education. Seems like a basic idea, but it took the Supreme Court to set the record straight, and we thank them for that. And now that ruling allows parents to opt out of dangerous trans ideology and make the decisions for their children that they believe is correct. And so we thank the Supreme Court for that. There's been multiple decisions over the past several weeks that just show why this injunction, why this nationwide injunction ban had to happen. For example, what I mean by that is local district court judges issuing decisions that are clearly contrary to law just because they don't like the policy of President Trump. And when it gets to the Supreme Court has to correct it. But that takes time. The Attorney General thanked our lawyers, and I'll do it again. Our lawyers are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to fight these injunctions and to emergency appeals, emergency stays, going back to the district court judge, asking them to change their view. And so their hard work is really paying off today, but over the past few weeks. We had a stay of an order that prevented DHS from moving aliens to a third country. We had a stay of an order that stopped the Department of Defense from implementing military readiness, the EO that President Trump signed. We had another stay of an order forcing reinstatement of fired executive branch employees, entirely within the President and Article 2, his right to do. We had a stay of, as you all know, of numerous DOJ cases. And again, every one of those stays requires a tremendous amount of work and effort by the lawyers and parties involved, and they should be doing other work. They should be doing the work that the President and this administration demands and has a right to demand, and not fighting these local judges who don't make decisions based on the law. They make decisions because they just simply don't agree with the administration's decision about a policy, and that's wrong.
They make decisions because there's money involved.
Any questions? Yes, for Pam, please.
Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Attorney General. So, as you know,
I just love the way he stands there, man. I love the way he just stands there, like.
The Supreme Court did not rule on the underlying constitutionality of the President's birthright citizenship order. So, what is the plan now? Are you going to try to implement the EO just in states where there isn't a legal challenge?
Yes, so birthright citizenship will be decided in October in the next session by the Supreme Court, unless it comes down in the next few minutes. I guess it could come down. I think they're still deliberating right now on some cases. As you heard, we just got transgender books, which is a huge win. But most likely, that will be decided in October in the next session. However, it indirectly impacts us because, as you correctly pointed out, if there's a birthright citizenship case in Oregon, it will only affect the plaintiff in Oregon, not the entire country. So yes, it's indirectly, but that's pending litigation, and we're waiting on that in the next term.
And how concerned are you that the Supreme Court will come back and determine that the executive order is unconstitutional?
Oh, we're very confident in the Supreme Court. But again, it's pending litigation, and that will directly be determined in October, but it indirectly impacts every case in this country, and we're thrilled with their decision today. Peter.
Madam Attorney General, thank you for being here to take our questions. A couple questions to the both of you. The EO had a 30-day grace period before it goes into effect. Is there any thought about trying to make it effective immediately within that period of time?
We're going to follow the law. We're going to make those decisions, and we're going to do what's right in the bounds of the law.
And then the DOJ didn't ask the justices to rule on the merits of the...
But this is really also a decision based on common sense. It didn't work the other way. It was a disaster where somebody from a certain location in a very liberal state or a liberal judge or a liberal group of judges could tie up a whole country for years because their decision was sometimes taken very quickly, and we're going to do that. Thank you.
Justice Amy Coney Barrett, sir, I know that you praised her and her opinion here in this case. She has taken some heat, though, from some of your supporters who have labeled her weak, a squishy, a rattled law professor. What is your take on that?
I don't know about that. I just have great respect for her. I always have. And her decision was brilliantly written today. from all accounts. Yeah.
Transgender ruling, Mr. President.
What
Would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House? And
Is that better? Can you hear me better now?
The Constitution. This is what it's all about.
I think it might be
This
this
is really
mic,
the
to be
opposite
honest.
of that.
I need
The
to increase the
question's
gain on
fine,
the
but
mic.
it's the opposite. The Constitution has been brought back.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Illegal crossings in the border are 0 now.
0. Does everyone hear that? 0. Trump 2028.
Do you intend, President
Trump 2028. Trump.
He's working the cameras.
with this new reality, President Trump, in the border, do you intend to engage personally with leaders from South America, not only Central America?
Why is he not by the
I do that anyway. I do that anyway.
It's not better. Why is he not by the mic at this present
Well,
moment?
you should, as an example, not South America, but NATO over the weekend. They have great respect for our country now. They did things that nobody thought was possible. They took funding from 2% to 5%. Nobody thought they'd ever pay the 2%, and now they're paying the 5%. It's over $1 trillion more a year. Think of that, $1 trillion. Nobody thought that could happen. That's a different group of people, different countries. But we get along with a lot of countries. We are respected again. Our country, the U.S., is respected again. Was not respected 6 months ago, I can tell you. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, you have a deadline coming up on trade in 2 weeks. Which countries, if any, on trade, on tariffs, sir, which countries, if any, are close to agreements with the administration?
Well, that's an interesting question. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal with probably 4 or 5 different countries. With the UK, it was a great deal for both. And we're in the process of making some others. But ultimately, in fact, Scott is here, and Howard Lutnick, these 2 guys have been doing an incredible job, and the people that work with them have been doing an incredible job. But, you know, we have 200 countries, you could say 200 countries plus. We can't do that. So at a certain point over the next week and a half or so, or maybe before, we're going to send out a letter. We talked to many of the countries, and we're just going to tell them what they have to pay to do business in the United States. And it's going to go very quickly. But some of the bigger countries, so India, I think we're going to reach a deal where we have the right to go in and trade. Right now it's restricted. You can't walk in there. You can't even think about it. We're looking to get a full trade barrier dropping, which is unthinkable. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen. But as of this moment, we've agreed to that, go into Indian trade. We're going to be trading in China. That's going to come a little bit down the road, but we're going to be trading in China. We have a lot of great things going, and we're getting along with countries, but some will be disappointed because they're going to have to pay tariffs. And we've taken in already hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. No inflation. The only problem we have is we have a Fed guy that doesn't understand what's happening, and it would be great if he'd lower the rate because we'd be able to borrow a lot cheaper. Yeah, go ahead, please. Why don't we keep it on this subject? This is such a big subject. You know what? Trade is so big, but this, I don't know, in a certain way, this might be bigger than trade. I think this is bigger than trade.
I don't think so.
Go ahead.
Sir, on the transgender ruling, the Supreme Court ruling that parents with religious objections can pull their kids out of public school lessons that use LGBTQ materials. Pam brought it up. Your reaction to that ruling today, sir?
I think the ruling was a great ruling, and I think it's a great ruling for parents. It's really a ruling for parents. They lost control of the schools. They lost control of their child. And this is a tremendous victory for parents. And I'm not surprised by it, but I am surprised that it went this far. It took us to bring life back to normal. So it's wonderful. It's parental. And I kept saying, we will give you back your parental rights. They were taken away, and this is a tremendous victory for parents. Yeah.
Mr. President, if you look at the back at the last week, it's been extraordinary in terms of the action in the Middle East. You were at The Hague. I'm wondering
hell of a week, hasn't it?
I'm wondering now if you believe that Iran. I'm wondering now, sir, if you believe that Iran has given up its long history of ambitions with nuclear weapons, or what you would like to see from them to prove that they do, and what type of meetings is your administration looking for next week with Iran?
So Iran wants to meet. As you know, their sites were obliterated. They're very evil nuclear sites. They were, now has been proven. We had some fake news for a little while. The same people that covered the Hunter Biden laptop was from Russia, the same people that did 3 or 4 other Russia hoax.
But on their
No, wait, just listen. They came up with something that delayed the credit that our great pilots and these great what talent that was, and they hit it right down in the spot. 52,000 feet. Think of this dark, no moon, you couldn't see a thing, and they hit the refrigerator door, as they say. That's the size of a target, and overwhelmingly, and it's amazing what was done. We're the only ones that could have done it, and we took out the 2 of the other sites also.
Oh, by the way,
we finished them all. That was a very evil intention. I believe that, and again, time will tell, but I don't believe that they're going to go back into nuclear anytime soon. They spent over $1 trillion on nuclear, and they never got it together. And nothing was moved from the site, by the way. To do that is very dangerous. It's very, very heavy material. Those cars were most likely the cars of masons because they were pouring concrete at the top, at the hatch, as you know, the hatch going into the nuclear site. They wanted to reinforce it, and they had some masons there pouring concrete. By the way, that concrete was obliterated. It hit exactly at the concrete. It was, I don't think it had a chance to dry, but everything's down there. It's under millions of tons of rock. Please. Yes.
Your administration has said that El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the hemisphere. So why haven't you yet canceled temporary protected status for that country? Was it part of the deal?
Well, we'll take a look. We've had a great relationship with El Salvador. They have a fantastic leader. They built a massive prison system. And I don't know exactly why, but it's a hell of a system. And we bring people there, and when they go there, they don't get out. And frankly, when they hear they have to go there, they become very nice people. They become very nice people. It's a tough system, but it's a brilliant system, and it's a system done by a very, very good leader. We'll talk about El Salvador. A lot of respect. Yeah, please.
Thank you. A question for you, and then a question for the Attorney General. As you go into negotiations and talks with Iran, are you demanding not only that there would be no uranium production inside of Iran, but also that Iran would turn over all existing stockpiles of uranium?
Well, you know, we're a little early for that, but something like that, yeah, we'll do something like that. Let me say that I've been saying for 25 years, even as a civilian, you cannot let them have a nuclear weapon, and that's what happened. It's been obliterated.
Yeah, but that deal was there in the first place. I mean,
I really think it's probably the last thing they have to recover
when
from.
When they had the deal with the USA, they could only reach up to
demanding that the
0.5%,
IAEA
and then you
have
ripped
full
it up
rights
and
to
they went to
inspect
60.
in Iran.
It was actually the deal itself.
Or somebody that we respect, including ourselves.
And a question for both the President and the Attorney General. Under birthright citizenship, if this is implemented, who would be tasked with actually vetting citizenship? And how, like, would this be a situation where you have nurses and doctors checking for citizenship?
Citizenship, some of the worst people, some of the cartels to get people into our country, just so you know. And again, I say, if you look at the end of the Civil War, the 1800s, it was a very turbulent time. If you take the end day, was it 1869 or whatever, but you take that exact day, that's when the case was filed. And the case ended shortly thereafter. This has to do with the babies of slaves, very, very obviously. And I think we're going to win. People didn't, I don't think they went about discussing it right. I came along and we looked and we said, wait a minute, this is wrong. We've been looking at birthright citizenship wrong for years, but they've used it. The cartels have used birthright citizenship to get very bad people in. And what Pam's doing and what Todd and everybody else, what they're doing at DOJ and all over, FBI, ICE, Border Patrol, these are incredible people. They're trying to keep our country safe, and they don't want to have people come in. This is just another way that they get illegal immigrants into our country, and in some cases, very, very bad ones. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your tax bill, if I could for a moment, senators are racing to rewrite parts of it right now after the Senate parliamentarian ruled that sections of it were outside of the process that they're using to get this through. Do you think that senators should respect the decisions of the parliamentarian? And what have you personally done in the last 48 hours to try and get Republican senators who are against the bill to a yes?
Well, look, it's a great bill. It's a massive tax cut. If it's not approved, your taxes will go up by 68%. Think of that, 68, a record, the highest in the history. The Democrats won't approve it only because politically it's so good for the Republicans. The Democrats aren't approving it. But think of what they're not approving. They're not approving border security. We've done a great job at the border, but we have to add some wall. We have to do, various things. We have no money for that. We have no money for the border. We have no money for so many things. But if the Democrats, it'd be interesting to see if we get any Democrat votes. We should. If I were a Democrat, I would absolutely, maybe Fetterman, because he seems to be the most sensible one lately. If I were a Democrat, I would vote for this bill all day long because it's tax cuts and so many other things that are common sense. They're basic things. I think they're doing fine. The parliamentarian's been a little difficult. And I would say that I disagree with the parliamentarian on some things, and on other ways he's been fine. But we'll have to see. It's a big issue. I will tell you this: if that bill doesn't pass, the country will get a 68% tax increase. So think of this: you're a Democrat and you vote against it. That means you're voting in favor, because essentially you're voting in favor of the largest tax hike in the history of our country. And you can't do that. In addition, we're cutting costs by $1.7 trillion, and it won't affect anybody. It's just fraud, waste, and abuse.
Mr. President,
a lot of that was not true. Oh my God.
Global Economist just did a 180 and says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it. What is your message?
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've
ever. I love how they're kissing his ass. They are kissing his ass.
We've been going through abuse for years on this, because as you know, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, no inflation whatsoever.
But Mr. President, what is your message to critics who think your tariff plan will cause a recession?
I think they should go back to business school. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. I mean, we're taking in billions and billions.
I love how much of a troll this guy is. It's absolutely amazing.
We took in, I had a call from somebody in the House and a high official. Sir, we have a problem. We don't know what to do. The books are a mess. I said, what do you mean by the books? The books, the money coming in. It's so terrible. I figured, oh boy, what's this? I don't like this question. I said, so what seems, there's so much money coming in, and there must be some kind of an accounting mistake, because we have hundreds of billions of dollars more money than we thought. I said, do me a favor, go check call me back. You have to call me back. Check the tariff column. Calls me back 2 hours later, says, you're right. We took in $88 billion in tariffs. They have so much money coming in.
I just want to ask you guys,
but more
what are the
importantly,
chances that conversation went that way?
Factories coming in, auto plants being built, AI is being built here instead of being built all over Europe and Asia.
In what way?
We have over $15
people in the U.S. government
just about, Scott. I think we're right about that number. We went to Saudi Arabia. We went to Qatar. We went to
where's all this?
Very smart people.
Where's all this money coming from?
And we took in $5.1 trillion.
Where could this money be coming from?
Without the tariffs. I mean, they also liked a thing called November 5th, November 6th, and November 7th. That was a very good little period of time. It's called the presidential election. You know, you used to have one-day election. Now you have it go over it. But even if you just took that little period, because it was pretty obvious it was going to be a landslide. And they like that, but they love the tariffs. I had Texas Instruments come in the other day, big company, and he said, we're putting in $60 billion into new plants and new equipment, new everything. Sir, you're going to keep the tariffs, aren't you? Because if I ever took the tariffs off, and we are going to absolutely keep it. And they're worried that somebody that, like this communist from New York, someday gets elected. I can't believe that's happening. That's a terrible thing for our country, by the way. He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York.
Wait, how is he
but the rest of the country is revolting against it. But if somebody got elected, they're afraid that if this was taken off, well, we're going to guarantee it's never going to be taken off. And again, we're taking in think of this, hundreds of billions of dollars. And they were all confused because they've never seen this before. You know, it's always the other way. We don't have enough money. So much money is coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen. But most importantly, we have factories being built, car plants being built, companies moving to our country like never before. If you look at $15 trillion, and that's only in a few months. You know, I haven't been here that long. presidents like the last one was a disaster. He's the worst president in the history of our country, by the way. What he did on our border can never, ever be forgotten.
That is
to
true.
me, that's the worst of all the things.
What he did in the
He's done
border
some
was
terrible
really
things,
messed up. Like,
grossly incompetent. Nobody knew it was him because I don't think it was him. I think it was whoever was controlling the auto pen. But our country is doing great. And those leaders and other leaders, I just left, as you know, a large group of the most highly respected people. And that includes big countries. When you look at Germany and France and Spain, although Spain didn't come through, but they will. By the way, guaranteed they will. That was the only country that sort of tried to hold back on putting up the money. But just so you know, they said, it's unbelievable what's happened to the USA. You were a dead country. We didn't respect.
Is that better, by the way,
the
my
country,
voice?
the leader. You were dead.
Let's change something.
As a doornail. One said to me, you went from being a dead country.
It's not live,
You
no.
are right now the hottest country anywhere in the world. The whole world is talking about the USA, and everybody wants a part of it, and they're pouring into our country, and you're going to see those numbers. Thank you for that question. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question about trade. Secretary Bessent has said that he hopes tariff deals with major partners will be done by Labor Day. So if some deals are not done by your July 9th deadline, will some countries' tariffs go back up, or will they stay where they are
Well,
now?
there are some countries that are used to ripping us off, to be honest with you, and I don't want to name them, but you sort of can name them. And they're so used to just, taking it billions and billions of, look, we had a trade deficit of more than $1 trillion. Think of a trillion, a trade deficit. That's because nobody cared. We cared a lot when, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariff. We had the greatest economy in history up until now. I think we're going to blow it away. But during my time, and especially prior to COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to blow it away now based on the kind of numbers that we're seeing. But some countries are very angry because they've been ripping us off for years. They've been making billions and billions of dollars. There was nobody to negotiate with. They could do whatever they want. They charged us tariffs, by the way, at numbers that we've never seen before. And we ended up losing much more than $1 trillion a year. $1 trillion a year on trade. And now they're being met with a force that's far greater than them, and they don't like it. So they're upset. Because instead of making,
but you don't lose
$5
$1
billion,
trillion
they're
That's not
gonna
how
break even. Or they'll make
that's
a
not
little
how-
bit. I want to be nice.
that's not what
They'll
a
make
trade
little bit.
deficit
We'll
is.
Make a little bit.
I'm
It's a
just-
big difference. Yeah, please
Yeah.
go. Go ahead. Red dress.
On the 2020 election, is there any more information on the special prosecutor? So many Americans still have questions about the 2020 election. And speaking of rogue judges, would you consider appointing somebody at DOJ maybe to investigate the judges that allowed for the political persecution of you, your family, and your supporters during the Biden administration?
I love you. Who are you?
From Lindell TV.
Well, that's just a very nice question. And it's not a setup. I have no idea who you are, but I appreciate that question. All I can say is we're not here for that. I hope so. I hope they're doing a thing because that election was rigged and stolen, and we can't allow that to happen. A lot of people tell me, sir,
You are the president of the United States. Let it go. Let it go. You're here now, right? Let it go. It's whatever.
You just won the greatest election
Just
in the
let it
history of
go.
the country. You
It's
won
fine.
At numbers that won all 7 swing states. Won
What
the
shows what a
popular vote, won everything.
a grudge can
Sir,
do with this guy.
go
That's
on
why
with your
all
life.
these
And
press is
many
being
people say that.
so
Good people, friends of mine. Then you have people
ass-licky
that
to this
say
guy. It's
that same
unbelievable.
thing. Go on with your life, but you have to find out what happened because you can't let that happen again. Look at what this lunatic did. Look at what he did. He opened our borders to people that were murderers, 11,888 to be exact, murderers, and we've captured many of those murderers, and we're bringing them back, or some of them are so dangerous that we don't even want to bring them back. We're afraid they're going to try and come back in. But he allowed people to come into this country, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, that's a mental institution on steroids, people from mental institutions, gang members, drug dealers, people, jails, being emptied out into our country.
I thought of a
Venezuela
really good
emptied out
business idea.
almost its entire prison
Just put this
population
guy's
into our country. But I don't want to
quote
blame
on
them.
T-shirts.
Many countries have done that. The Congo, you know, we have a great press conference coming up later.
Mental
And
institution
it's
on
the Congo
steroids.
and Rwanda. You know, they were fighting for years. And it was machetes, it was vicious, it was as vicious, people's heads being chopped off. And I have a man who's very good in that part of the world, very smart, and put them together. And we're signing a peace treaty today. First time in many years they're going to have peace. And it's a big deal. You know, we talk about Russia, and we're working that one. President Putin called up and he said, I'd love to help you with Iran. I said, do me a favor, I'll handle Iran. Help me with Russia. We got to get that one settled. And I think something's going to happen there. But we did some great work. India and Pakistan. That was going to be maybe nuclear. We did that. We did a lot of work. I don't know if there's ever been a president that's done much more. Serbia, Kosovo was going to go at it. Going to be a big war. I said, you go at it. There's no trade with the United States. They said, well, maybe we won't go at it. That's what happened with India and Pakistan. I was negotiating with both of them, and I said to Scott, I said to Howard, cancel all deals with India and Pakistan. They're not trading with us because they're in a war. They called back, what do we do? I said, look, you want to have trade with the United States, it's great. But you want to go and start using nuclear weapons on each other? We're not going to allow that. And they both agreed. Both have great leaders. They both agreed not to do it. So we did a lot, but I appreciate that question.
What is that question?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr.
Orange.
President. Thank you, Mr. President. I was just speaking with Senator Ron Johnson on the One Big Beautiful Bill, and he says he really wants to get to yes for you and get this accomplished.
He does. He's a good man.
But he also said that he needs more time, and he is not certain that the July 4th deadline is possible.
Well, then he's not such a good man.
Because there's too much work to do.
He's a good man. Ron Johnson's doing a good job. He's very committed. Every Republican senator is committed. And, you know, you could have a couple of grandstanders.
You know what I
in all
will
fairness.
say
You
about
could have
Donald
somebody
Trump, right?
else. And
His
it's very
stamina is
dangerous because our
amazing for
country
someone
would
at
go
his
from
age.
being the most successful country
As
in the
weird
world to
as
who knows
that
what happens
sentence
with a 68%.
His stamina is
Think of it,
amazing.
68% tax increase. That was given by the Democrats because they like high taxes. I don't know what happened. You know, all my life, I'd grow up and I'd watch politicians talking. I'd say, oh, that's fun. And they were always saying, we will cut your taxes. We will cut your tax. I never heard it. They say, we will raise your taxes. And they elect people like this guy in New York that maybe has a chance. I find it hard to believe, but he maybe has a chance. They want to raise your taxes. So they want to see a 68% tax increase. That's more money than anybody could afford. You'd go into a depression if that ever happened. So I think there's a lot of pressure to get that approved.
How important is the July 4th deadline to you? If
It's important. It's not the end all. It can go longer, but we'd like to get it done by that time, if possible. And look, we have a lot of very committed people, and they feel very strongly about a subject, subjects that you're not even thinking about that are important to Republicans. The problem we have is that it's a great bill. It's a popular bill, but we'll get no Democrats only because they don't want to vote for Trump. If that bill was their bill, oh, they would be so happy. It's so great for our military. It's great for everything. And they would normally vote, but because their hatred of Trump, they have Trump derangement syndrome at levels never seen before. And instead of voting for a tax cut, they're voting for a tax increase of 68%. They're voting to destroy Social Security, destroy Medicare, and destroy Medicaid. And we're voting to make them perfect and to make them better, make them stronger and better. They're going to destroy Medicaid, and they're going to destroy Medicare, and Social Security will follow. If you vote for the Democrats, you're dead on those three things.
Thank you, Mr. President. On a related subject, many Democrats have said that they are not going to support crypto bills in Congress only because of you and your family's personal crypto ventures. And these votes are in some cases needed to pass. Are you open to the idea of pulling away from your personal crypto ventures just for the next few years if that helps get these crypto bills passed in the next few months?
Well, it's a very funny thing, crypto. So I became a fan of crypto, and to me it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China. China would love to. And we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term. I got involved before I decided to run. I only decided to run because I saw what was happening, and Biden was incompetent, and the administration was crooked and incompetent, and I was in Bitcoin then, not knowing if I was going to do it a third time. So it's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces, and I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar, and it's a great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing. You know, I have kids, and they invest in different things. They do believe in it. But I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And you know, if we didn't have it, China would. Okay.
Sir, Mr. President,
go ahead. With the glasses, gentlemen.
Well, that ended really quickly.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, are you going to cut funds in the sanctuary states, like for instance California, they keep supporting illegal immigration, and then these people work under
Yeah, we're giving
table.
them a hard time.
And also, a foreign policy question.
I mean, they don't have a governor in California. They have a man that wants to give away everything to people that nobody's seen before. If we didn't go into Los Angeles with the military, which did a fantastic job, but if we didn't go into Los Angeles bringing in the National Guard, I would have brought the military if it was necessary, because you have to. We have the right to. That was another thing upheld by the Supreme Court. But if we didn't go in with the National Guard and be strong and tough,
all right, the crypto thing is
you
over,
wouldn't
but I
maybe
just want to
have
show
Los
you
Angeles.
something.
It would be like the rest of.
I want to show you something. I want to show you something. I want to show you something. This is something you guys need to get. Can you see this now? Okay, I want to show you something. You know that 68%? I was like, that just doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. Like that smells fishy to me, man. What's that got to do with? Taxes will rise by 7.5%. I mean, it took me all of 2 minutes. It took me 2 minutes to find that the 68% he's talking about is over a 15-year a 15-year period. 15-year period, cumulative 15-year period. So, yeah, that's a load of bullcrap. Look, yeah, that's what he said about crypto. I mean, the good thing is, right, the one thing I will say is that what it does seem like, and this is where it's interesting. What I like to discuss and think about. Whoa, what just happened? What just happened? Why did my screen just disappear? What just happened? Can you guys see my screen? Did my screen just disappear? Can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Because it's disappeared on my side. Hello? Anyone? Anyone? Oh, you can see Trump. All right, it's disappeared on my screen. What I will say is that what made me interested about this, and then after that we will I'll get off because it's been a long run, and I've had the hacker attack my channel, but whatever, I'll get it back somewhere. Although if not, I'll start another gives it flying monkeys, right? You can't pay these idiots any type of money, otherwise they'll do it over and over again. What I will say is that the fact that he says his kids are in crypto, right? Can you see our message? I can see our messages. Yeah, the fact that he said his kids are in crypto, and what it feels like is that his kids are the ones that are pushing the way forward in this, and that gives me a lot of hope and a lot of interest in this market. That makes me really, really interested because with Donald Trump, what I find with anytime he speaks, right, he waffles a lot. My God, he waffles a lot. There are moments where you just start phasing out when he's talking about something, and he just never ends up really saying anything. He's really good at deflecting certain things because he starts one place and then moves over, and he's talking about what lunch he had in the evening. Um, but the fact that he said his kids are in crypto and he's the president, it means that he will be actually, having a full blown conversation and asking for their opinion on in this market. And when their kids are, the people who are younger, who know this industry, who know this market, are boding well for it. And what they're developing and what they're creating, as he said, is an industry. It's a new asset class. He's literally just said it. I've said it 100 times before. They're building a new asset class. Why do you think they're involved in crypto right now? I mean, I did a TikTok video after it was disappeared, but his uh, Kushner came out and said, "Look, there was one moment we had everything, and then another moment we didn't have anything, and crypto was the way to actually fully relieve ourselves from this elitist system where only the wealthy have access to all the best benefits, and the people who are not there get access to nothing. They are scrambling for any morsel of anything to get into get into and be able to get it. For example, in America, if you're wealthy and influential, you can get a 0.05 percent, not even that, a fraction of a percent loan, right? In relation to the shares you hold of a company that you haven't sold and it hasn't had any type of effect to it. So you're basically getting free money. Then you can put that into the stock market or into property and earn more than that in every single aspect of it. And it's only accessible to the wealthy, right? Normal people don't get access to this type of stuff. And these guys, the Donald Trump family, at one point were getting access to loans that made them able to build these properties. Do you think they build those properties off their own money? No, they just use their collateral that they have, which are other buildings, and then take massively cheap loans of it, build these extraordinary over the top buildings, and make a massive yield on it. That is how the wealthy become wealthy in the USA. That is the fundamental fact. And what this guy has seen, and now that that has been taken away, and they see the opportunity and the building of a new asset class. And once he makes this a, once he provides regulatory clarity, everything is clear, forward, and understanding. These guys are in it from the beginning, from the bottom. They are going to be the leaders of this market. It is money. I will say that these guys will make ungodly amounts of money from crypto if they make everything legal the way it should be. If they develop all the regulatory clarity, we've just passed the Genius Act. No one gives a flying monkeys about it. Walmart is creating a stable coin. Walmart. Do we understand how ridiculous the situation is right now? The next step is when for example, what's his name, I mean, I did a video again. I can't show that to you, but I'm going to start doing these things on YouTube now because they seem to be far better understanding on this aspect, right? But what you see at this present moment is that certain regulations that were there that stopped the ability of banks to be able to promote cryptocurrency assets and hold cryptocurrency assets, do all of those things that are there, have been revoked. You need to understand that the regulatory bodies are now merging into normal regulatory bodies. Crypto isn't a weird asset anymore. It is a normal asset that is looked at as other type of tradable risk on assets out there. It's coming into an age where we are at the beginning, right? And when I say beginning, I would say in the next 10 years, right? That these crypto assets that we're talking about are going to be the new gold rush. in every sense of the word. It's going to be the new gold rush. It's name me any other asset that's out there that has this potential of growth. Unless you get lucky and you find the next Facebook or Uber or Microsoft. They're called Magnificent Seven because they are massive unicorns in the industry. Those are the things that give you those crazy returns. And crypto is one of those things that people don't really understand and they think it's silly, but they only think it's silly until the very last moment and when they become the exit liquidity themselves. Why do you think all of these institutions and big governmental bodies and funds and all this stuff are coming into this industry? Why do you think all of this is happening? This is happening because they know where the future of this is going. And if you can have a long enough of a time span, if your investment profile is more than 20 years, right? Then buy, sit back, and wait and see what happens. Do you think that the moment that all of this stuff becomes there's a clear regulatory clarity, when banks are fully invested in this and develop financial modeling, leverage trading abilities, and have trading floors where they'll be trading these assets, do you think the government is going to be able to repeal that back? Not a chance. Not a chance. When that much money is being played around, they will only thing they will do is bring more regulation, which will reduce the fluctuation in these assets, make them less volatile, but make it a steady growth aspect of a market. And when you're getting it at these levels, who cares? Who cares? Who cares if we've seen a 20% dip, a 40% dip in the market? You're looking at, I mean, look at if we look at Bitcoin as a just an asset that you DCA in. I've DCA'd, but I have huge amounts. For people who don't know me and are not coming from TikTok and know me from understand from somewhere else, right? Uh, I've I have a lot of crypto. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana especially. I bought Solana at I think it was $18 or $13, something around that level, right? I held it for what 2 years, 2.5 years. This is the time span you need to understand. We're talking extraordinary amounts of return we're talking about. In the S&P 500, if you're making 10% that year, that is a wild return. Why do you think they say that you put you average into the S&P 500 and in 30 years time you'll make $1 million? Because in the eventuality of the asset that you're putting money into, there are ups and downs, and it's the average you'll get to that level. You're looking at Bitcoin where its annualized return on average, adjusted for inflation, is 50%. In bear, this includes bear markets, by the way, not including the what 530% it's done in the past 2 years. There's no asset that does that. Nothing. And that's what everyone seems to really just not get. They just don't get it. They're outright telling you. And this is the funniest part of all of this, right? The US government and the things that they're doing, they're outright saying to you, this is what we're doing. And everyone's like, nah, bruv. Nah, bruv, you're wrong, bruv. This guy hasn't even done a year yet. He hasn't done a year in office yet. I know we have a bit of a whiplash going on right now. I know I know the whiplash is strong with this one, right? I know he does the press on the brakes a bit too hard, like a nice 8-year-old driver would do. But let's not forget what's happening right now. Let alone when a generation passes where cryptocurrency, when people from our generation or from younger generation actually are the people that get into office and actually have that level of power. Do you think they think that crypto is stupid and has no value? The only people that are blocking all this stuff are ancient dinosaurs that hold hedge funds with billions of dollars and go, oh yeah, let me put it into this to the property market and make what 3-4% a year, and then take 2% fees. Let's not all forget where we are and what we're doing right now. You just need to understand your time profile. Once you get that time profile down and set, then you'll know that how you need to play. If it's short, you trade. If it's longer, you invest and sit back. Find fundamental products that you know that will do well in the future and work in that way, and go from there. I mean, I'll give you one thing I'm going to be doing in the full bear when we get hit really low levels. I'm going to be loading up on Sui like no man's business. Like no man's business. I would most definitely believe that Sui is going to be doing some hilarious things in the future. Think Solana levels, especially now that they're fully in FUD mode with the CETAS hack. Let's not forget that. I mean, it is producing a secondary high, although it hasn't been able to reach the higher level. So I assume this thing could potentially go down a lot more, right? And if we find a fair value gap of Sui, it is right at that level. Right at that level. That would be my analysis of this. That would be my analysis. The best way to think about it. I mean, it's yeah. That's what I was thinking. You just have to understand your time profile, your how much of a period that you're looking to invest, and then do it that way. Then move in that direction. Move in that way and adjust your portfolio and look at these moments. Look at these moments where you see, when they say every dip is a buying opportunity. I look at it in that manner. Like I bought Bitcoin at crazy levels. I bought Ethereum at crazy levels. I bought a few other ones that have not done so well, but still, whatever. Who cares? I'm looking in like multi year levels. What's your opinion about the ISO alts for the future? Oh man, I don't know, man. I don't like talking about ISO coins. People get so angry. They get so angry. Let me ask you this question. This is the question I'm going to ask you about that. If Walmart is creating a stable coin, why would they need any other facilitator of real world money into crypto? Ask that question to yourself. Because ISOs are all about that. Let's keep that in mind. See why the US government is pushing into stable coins. See why that is the biggest thing. And see why you understand the nature of what they're trying to build here. They want people to have the freedom to do whatever they need to do, not be tied down to a medium where they have to utilize and then get into the industry and to do those type of things. Stable coin bill is a form of freedom, right? It's a form of freedom in the market, and it's actually a deflationary effect of I mean, sorry, it's an inflationary effect of the dollar. People don't demand the dollar now. Will not demand the dollar. They will demand a stable coin that is backed by the dollar. And that's the funny aspect of all of this, which is really interesting, right? Think of it in a grander scale. That's all I will say. All right, guys. Absolutely interesting, Matt. Why are all our lives so amazing? I hope you guys had a bit of an understanding what I said in the markets, understand where things are going. I got banned live on live, and it's most probably the guy was listening was on my live to do so. Hopefully, we'll get that back. All on Bitcoin and nothing else. Okay, maybe an idea. I like other. Yeah, there's a few other coins that are really interesting out there that will play a part, right? It can't be just those two. Don't forget, right? Because Bitcoin is going to be a store of assets, not a currency. Stable coins will be, and these other things will be assets that people will be able to invest into and see various. You need to build the world, the ecosystem. Once you do those things, that's when you'll know where and what direction to look at. Think RWA. Really think RWA. This is what's really important. that connection between the two worlds and amortizing real world assets is a really important thing to look at. I highly suggest understanding that beyond anything else. That's what I would say. And also, I will say one more thing, right? I'm working with this neobank. There's something really cool. Hopefully, by the next live, I will be able to give you guys a referral code where if you sign up to that neobank, you will be able to access the pre-sale of the launch of their token. This is a neobank that has that are fully regulated, certified, and on top of that, this is the coolest part. They work with American Express, Mastercard, and all that kind of stuff, right? So we'll see. By the next live, I should be able to have all those data there, and possibly, maybe, who knows, be able to get my TikTok back if this idiot doesn't just leave me alone. All right, guys, absolute a pleasure, all that kind of stuff, and we will go from there. All right, pleasure. Send some likes, share these lives. It really helps, especially on YouTube, because that's where we're going to be getting. I love all you guys from X as well. You guys are awesome. All the new people, welcome. All the old people, also welcome. And I will catch all of you guys later. All right, take care. Peace, and love, and all that affection and jazz. Take care.